Okay, this is the final section, and this is case of types of goods. And your book talks about this idea of public goods in terms of rivalry and excludability. And rivalry and excludability. If a good is excludable, then one party can exclude another from the consumption of the good. And if a good is rival, then no two parties can consume the good at the same time. So here we have a table, and a private good, anything that you would buy, like coffee, for example, would be both excludable and rival. No two people can drink the coffee at the same time, and one person can exclude the other from consuming the coffee. On the opposite extreme would be a public good, which would be non-excludable and non-rival. So a public good in this case, like the street lamp that you saw in the very first slide, is no one can be excluded from the use of from the benefits of the light bulb and benefits of the street lamp, and both parties can enjoy it at the same time. Now, in between, let's say something is rival and non-excludable, what this table calls open access goods, I've seen it as common resources. So common resources would be like fish in the ocean. So no one can be excluded, but if I eat a fish, that is one less fish for you. That would be open access goods. And finally, we have excludable and non-rival. I guess your book calls it quasi-public goods. And sometimes they're called club goods. And these would be things like satellite television or scenic views from private lands are examples of public goods. Club goods. They're non-rival but excludable. Club goods, as your book says, are made artificially scarce when the owners prevent people who don't pay for the goods from using them. So everybody can use it within the area, but the owners can prevent somebody from the use of the good. So yeah, that would be something like satellite television or scenic views from private lands. And and because we have other goods rather than strict private goods, the private market does a less than adequate job with all goods that are not excludable and goods that are non-rival. Other means must be used to provide those goods out to the public. All right, our second slide here, and hopefully our last, is the demand curve for a public good, as you can see here. Now, for a private good, one gets the market demand by adding the quantities at each price. So you would have a series of graphs, and you would be moving horizontally, and at each price you would add the different quantities. But in the case of a public good, market demand is determined by adding the prices at each quantity. This is because both parties can enjoy the same piece of land as it is non-rival and non-excludable. Okay, let's see. I think that may be it. So this chapter talked about ways in which the market can fail to provide what society wants, and so other means should have been proposed, and this chapter talked about them to try to bring the allocation of these goods to what society would desire to do. And obviously, government has a major role to play in this regard. Okay, I do believe this ends chapter 3 on market failure. Oh, no, we have one more. And we have a picture of a bicycle here. And and the reason why they have this picture, and specifically a bike, I think that's in Paris. But we have the Beaky bike is the same idea. And markets fail when we don't pay the full price of our behavior. And so the question being posed is, would you ride a bicycle more often if you had to pay the full price of the externalities caused by driving a car? Driving a car does impose big social costs upon other drivers, pollution that is being caused, but the price that we pay does not bear the full social cost of that behavior. Okay, until next time, this ends chapter 3, market failure.